So I've gone down another rabbit hole and wanted to just find out how much GPA an hour you can make AFK in certain mobs in the game. And I've ended up down Soul Devourers, killing these Feline Ahks. And I'm not going to lie, it's looking really promising at the moment. I'm going to go based off the drop rate that Vital Sparks are 1 in 75 and the keys are 1 in 400. Based off them drop rates, you're looking at a decent amount of profit an hour. You do have the cost of the feathers and you do have a cost of a scrimshire. But you should still be able to make over 10 mil an hour AFK in these completely. Also, you can actually use scavenging 4 here, unlike the elves where you can't. So that's going to make you a little bit over a mil an hour as well, because you're able to get over 1,000 kills. Alright then, that's 2 hours in, and the loot is looking juicy. We've already got 4 keys, which are meant to be a 1 in 400, so that's to be expected. And 76 Vital Sparks, which are meant to be 1 in 75. However, we gain 2 for every one that we receive, because we have the drop enhancers. And you have a 20% chance of that being doubled into 4. But I still think we've got pretty lucky on the Vital Sparks, assuming they are a 1 in 75. Plus, we have a 4.6 mil in the cash stack. So in total, we're just shy of 30 mil from 2 hours of these guys. They're looking to be great elite clue scrolls. We already have 10 of them, and that's at around 1,040 kills an hour. They're expected to be a 1 in 256, so I'm interested to see how this will play out throughout the rest of the kills. From getting 1,040 kills an hour, you can expect to get 1.2 mil in disposable income from your materials. That's according to a calculator that I'll leave in the description down below on the wiki. Essentially what it does is, it works out on average how many of each component you're going to be getting with the amount of kills an hour that you input into it. And it will work out how many powerful, enhancing, precious, dexterous, and living components you will get. And it uses all of them ones specifically because they're what you need to use to make augmenters, equipment siphons, and chinchompers. And it will work out your average hourly profit. So doing this method, you should be getting 1.2 mil from your scavenging. And aside from that, you can use XP capacitors to get yourself even extra GP an hour. But the real big reason that we're here is to get elite clue scrolls. There we go. That's hour number 4, just rounding up or killing these guys. And we got 14 elite clues in 2 hours. That's pretty insane if I say so myself. We have 150 Vital Sparks, another 5 mil in cash, and we've used just over 2,000 of our feathers. So it's going to be just under another 8 hours until we finish doing the full sample. And here is how much we was actually able to make just off the regular loot alone. I hope these summoning focuses actually sell. They give you more summoning XP when training it, but I just can't imagine anyone really using them. Hopefully they do sell though. But just in regular loot, we're able to make ourselves 16.3 mil plus 5 mil from them 2 hours and 4.6 from the other. So in total about 25, 26 mil. And then when you add the Vital Sparks, that goes all the way up to 44. Plus the keys to the crossing, we're talking 50.4 mil. Plus just shy of 10 mil. So we're talking nearly 60 mil we've made and 24 elite clue scrolls from 4 hours of killing these guys. Yes, you've got the cost of the scrimshaw. Yes, you've got the cost of the feathers. But by the end of all of this, we're going to see how much we can make in total. So that's hour number 6. And I'm not going to lie, we got a ton of keys to the crossing that hour. I think we got 8. We're also now at 31 elite clues in 6 hours, which is on average 5 elite clues an hour. Just over 5 elite clues an hour. Obviously, we have got pretty lucky on the elite clues, so you can't expect to get this many. But that's really nice for us to actually have on the series. In terms of all of the loot overall, in 6 hours, we're at 59.3 mil, plus the summoning focuses, which are going to take us up to 77.7. And we have 11 mil in the cash stack. So we're at 88.8 mil from AFKing this. We have a ton of items that we've sent to the bank using our yak. For example, 2 Farth of keys, a few soul talismans. You get a lot of curved and long bones from this. We've had 15 long bones in total and 2 curved bones, which it's not too useful. You get construction and crafting XP if I recall correctly, but they're nice to see nonetheless. But overall, we've made a ton of money doing this so far. In 1 hour and 56 minutes, we were able to get 2,041 kills. And it is looking really good for an AFK method. Like I said, a lot of people are going to moan, oh, I don't want to do this method because it uses a vampirism scrimshaw, it costs too much. At the end of the day, you've got to spend money to make money. And anyone out there with that mentality, just look at the overall amount of profit that you can make and deduct it from your cost. A lot of people like to factor in overloads for the cost. As a PVMer, a lot of you guys will be able to relate to this. Yes, overloads cost a fair amount. Do they increase the amount of efficiency that you're able to get for whatever bit of bossing or slayer you do? Yes, drastically. Do they add a lot of quality of life in a sense you can have aggro overloads and prayer renewals compared with them? Yes, they make it a lot more fun. The big thing that I like to say to people is when you're using overloads doing bossing and PVMing, you're using them anywhere, regardless of what you do. Yeah, you can factor in the cost if you want, but if I'm not here doing this, I'm using overloads elsewhere. So take what you want from that. I personally do not factor them in because I make them regardless. I have them already, and I'm going to be doing bossing whatever we're doing anyways, and I'm going to be using the overloads with the same exact cost at any content in the game. So I recommend anyone out there to kind of lose that mindset and look at the efficiency that these items gain for you, and just go do things. You will make a ton of money, and all of the costs are just negligible at this point. Yes, if you're a number freak because you play RuneScape, I am myself, yeah, you might want to look at all of these things. I don't include the cost in every one of my videos purely due to the fact that my setup is not going to be the same as your setup. You won't have the same armor as me. You won't have the same charge reduction as me. You won't have the same armor charges being used. You won't have the same cost in potions. You won't have the same cost in scrimshaws. I might have got my scrimshaw from ports. There's loads and loads of different things that factor up different costs, so it's impossible to put out a one size fits all. Specifically for this method, the only cost that we're going to be including is the regular vampirism scrimshaw and the feathers of mott. Any other costs you guys can factor in yourself. All of the numbers are there for you guys to see. And there we go, that's hour number 8 done. Let's have a little quick check-in and see how much we've made. I've been using a yak to send most of my items to the bank in the form of the keys to the crossing and some of the rare drop table drops like the key halves. But that's another 8 keys from the hour, and we're getting insanely lucky with them. They're literally a 1 in 400. We've killed 8,200 and we've got 25 keys. That's ridiculously lucky from these guys. We're averaging a 1 in 330 drop rate instead of a 1 in 400, which is always nice to see. In terms of our raw cash, we're talking 16.1 mil. In terms of all of the drops, like the rare drop table drops are adding up, and it would be really cool if we can get something good from there. Like the best item that we've got so far was 262 sharks, but there's plenty of good items on the table that we can look for. We've had 251 teak planks, which, well, not a lot. It's an extra 108k and it's stackable, so we can't complain about that. And the keys to the crossing alone at 18.6 mil. The price of these at the moment is insane. And we've got 43 elite clues. So while being 8 hours in, we might not be able to do another 2 hours until we do some of these elites, or at least downgrade them, because I want to do all the elites that we actually get on the account. Whereas if we were to go finish up the next 4 hours or 3,900 feathers, we will be missing out on a ton of elite clue scrolls. I just can't believe how many we're getting. But when we take a look at the summoning focuses, that's another 24.6 mil. I've checked if they sell for 20.8k. They do sell for that, at least at a slow sell. I just can't see them selling instantly at that price. So that's something we'll need to consider in the future. And then finally, this is the most money from doing this. It's the vital sparks. Take a look at this. 122.8 million in 8 hours of doing this. Like, that is insane. That's around 15.3 mil raw GP an hour if everything sells. And when you factor in the fact we've got about 2 mil cost an hour in vampirism scrimshaws, that's going to take it down to 13. We've got about 1.5 mil in feathers. It's going to be over about 11 mil an hour. It's at least going to be over 10 mil. But still, like, I cannot complain about how much money we're making from these, and I'm intrigued to see what we can get when we finish up all of these feathers. And then we can have a true sample size to see how rare the common drops are, and then we can work out a true GP an hour for killing these. There's already been 10 hours, and it's probably only been a few minutes for you guys, but the amount of money that we've made from these is so crazy. Just in cash, we've got 21 mil. We've got 33 keys to the crossing, which is 24.5 mil. We've got 378 vital sparks, which is over 70 million, and I don't doubt that these will sell at this price because they're pretty high in demand for everyone trying to get their limitless ability. We've managed to make 156.87 mil. We've already completed 43 elites. In them 2 hours, we just got another 13. Like, I can't believe how many elites there are. They're meant to be 1 in 256. We're getting about 1,030 kills an hour on average. So we should only be seeing 4, but every single hour we've consistently seen more than that. So I'm intrigued to know whether the information on the Wikipedia is wrong or I'm getting extremely lucky. I'd have to see a bigger sample size. But yeah, 10 hours in and we've got 156 mil profit. I'm going to go finish up the remaining 1,898 feathers and see how much we can make from this. And here we are, we've got the last feline soul devourer. And this took around 12 hours in total to do. We have 8 minutes left on our aura, so I'm just going to round that up and say it was a full 12 hours. And that's everything, so let's teleport out and go to wars. Now I'm going to put everything in the bank and make sure we have every single drop that we received from killing all of them with all of the information for you guys. So in my inventory now, we have absolutely everything that we collected from these guys. All of the GP from the spring cleaner, all of the coin drops, every single rare drop item that we got. I've even included the amount of charms you would expect to get from killing all of these. And this was from 12,266 Feline Ahks, which is around 1,022 kills an hour. So let's jump straight into this and take a look at the profit. First up, this is going to be one of the biggest parts of the price check, the Vital Sparks. We got 438 of these, and that's using the Vital Drop Enhancers and letting all the loot go to the ground to give them the double chance. And we got 83 mil alone off the Vital Sparks. The summoning focuses, I'm not too sure whether or not these will sell. I have insta-bought one of these for 20,800, so we should be able to slow sell these at mid price. But that's an extra 37 mil nearly just from them. And then the keys to the crossing, I'm pretty sure we got really lucky on these. In 12,266, these are a 1 in 400, so you should expect to see 30.6. But we was able to get ourselves 39 of them, which is crazy. We got really lucky on these, and we made an extra 7 mil than we were supposed to, which I'm not complaining about. Water Talismans, 1,343, and that's an extra 6 mil on the price check. We shouldn't have any trouble selling these. Cactus Spines, that's an extra 5 mil. And that is pretty much it for the regular loot. Obviously, you've got the coins as well, which give you a total of 190.4 mil. And when I've added all of the rare drop table drops, we've got 193.1 million GP, which is absolutely insane. Here we have 74.2 mil, and these should slow sell over time, giving us an extra 37 and an extra 83 million. So once all of this is sold, I'll show you guys the total amount that we were able to make from this. There we go. So I've left my offers in overnight, and it looks like they've sold. So the summoning focuses sold for a total of 34 mil, and the Vital Sparks a massive 83.2 mil. So in total, from doing all of that, we were able to get ourselves 194.7 mil. So for those of you wondering what the cost of this was, 4 Vamp Scrims cost us 13.2 mil. 12,000 Feathers at 1,700 each cost us 20.4 mil. This would be a lot less if you buy them yourself for 1,500 each, but I'm going to assume most of you are going to buy them from the Grand Exchange. 15 Holy Aggro Overloads cost us 3.9 mil. You've got to remember, I make overloads cheaper because I'm 120 Herblore, and when you're 120 Herblore, you can batch make them and get loads of free overloads when making them. So that only cost us 3.9 mil for the full 12 hours. We only needed 15 of them because we were using Lanternime incense sticks, and the Lanternime incense sticks in total cost us 1.6 mil. And at a drain rate of 7.9 charges per second, we used in total 104 divine charges. That would have cost us 6.3 mil, so around about 500k per hour in armor charges. I'm going to be honest with you guys, like, you need to spend money to make money in this game. A lot of people like to nitpick at the costs. I'm showing you guys the costs because a lot of you guys are interested. I personally tend to not look at them because I'm going to be using them absolutely anywhere that I'm PVMing, and I'd recommend you doing so too. If you go down the route of looking at every single method and going, oh, the cost of this, the cost of that, you're probably not going to do the content. Like, the cost really isn't that bad, and when you compare it to other places in the game, you'll realise that a lot of the costs are similar across the board. You're going to be using overloads everywhere, you're going to be using drain charges everywhere. At high level PVM, you're going to be using pocket slot items, you're going to use incense sticks, you're going to use scrimshaws, all of that stuff. You're going to have a high cost everywhere. It's all about how much money you can make and how you value your time. In total, we made 109.3 mil. Our total cost us 45.4 mil. That leaves us with 149.3 mil profit over the course of 12 hours, which is 12.4 mil an hour. Of course, you've got to remember the bonus from this as well. You're going to be using Scavenging 4. If you wanted to, you can use XP capacitors. Both of these will add your profits up and probably net you around 14 million profit an hour. It's hard to tell the profit of Scavenging because there's only so many of the components that you can actually use to make materials. That's not the only use for Scavenging. You can actually save on the rare procs if you get lucky. We're not going to factor that in as a cost because it is RNG at this point. You can work out how many mobs you've killed and work out the percentage of every single item, but at the end of the day, that's not going to help anyone unless you're camping somewhere for over 100,000 kills. Where Scavenging 4 does prove very useful, a lot of the components that you actually get and receive can actually be used to save you time in the future when you need to make things with invention. If you have to spend time disassembling stuff and money on their materials, you're losing money because you could be spending that time elsewhere. Scavenging 4 is extremely important in this game for a lot of reasons, and it really is a massive quality of life for invention as a whole. If you do a lot of Slayer, you do a lot of AFK grinding, it will pay for itself, and you will get so much utility out of it for making gizmos, for making springs. Like the subtle components that you get if you put maple longbows unstrung in your disassemblers at the invention guild, you can literally get springs for less than 2k each. Like, it's crazy the amount of utility that it offers. You can make siphons, you can make augmenters, you can make mechanized chins for profit. It's very hard to work out the exact number, but just know that killing over 1,000 an hour, it's around 1.2 mil in transferable income. But the true value of all of the components that you receive is far greater than that, because you're going to save the money and the time for getting them components in the future for yourself. But we're gonna leave the number excluding XP capacitors and excluding scavenging 4. It's 12.4 mil. And if you were to factor in the cost of an amulet of souls, which I don't think you actually need, I was just using. We didn't use a full one, we used about half of one over the course of 12 hours. But for argument's sake, if you used a full one, it's only going to cost you 6 mil to repair, and it's still going to put your profit an hour at 12 mil. Obviously, without factoring it in, it's 12.4 mil profit an hour, but there is a cost with the amulet that you use. And if you use a blood amulet, it'll be significantly less. Hopefully this isn't too confusing for you guys. Like I said, I tend to avoid all of the costs in this game. I don't think they're helpful for myself. They may be helpful for you. Obviously, when I was a newer player at the game, I done exactly the same thing. I looked at every single cost to a T. Now that I've been at the end game for so long and I've had an abundance of money for doing things, I tend to not look at it and just have fun. I think the point that I'm trying to make is, whatever you do in this game towards the mid and end game, you're going to make money. So just enjoy the game and have fun. I know it's hard to not think of all of these numbers when all of the gear upgrades are so ridiculously out of reach. But at the end of the day, you're never going to get to them if you obsess with numbers and don't have fun. So have fun with the game. Just enjoy it for what it is and try out all kinds of methods to overall progress your account. Over 12 mil an hour whilst getting a ton of elite clues is crazy. I'd recommend it to anyone that does the conventional methods such as Abbey Demons, Capsarius or Spiritual Warriors to try this out. If you're a avid clue hunter and you're camping Manifest Shadows, this is going to be less clues an hour on average, but you're going to make a ton of money on the side. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this loot video breaking down the profit an hour, including all of the costs that I can think of. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video breaking down the total profit an hour that you can expect to see from this. If you like this style of video, let me know by hitting the like button. And as always, a guide for this method will be coming in the future with my exact setup, and it will be based on actual GP rates, based on averages and not RNG. So stay tuned for that if that's something you'd be interested in. Thanks for watching, and as always, subscribe so you don't miss out on the content coming to the channel. 25% of you guys are already subscribed, and I'm not going to lie, that number's going up gradually over time, and welcome all of you new people to the channel. The content's going to keep coming. There's going to be so many videos, and I'd love to have you guys around for the journey. Thank you all for watching.